Hey, what's happening all? It is the 14th of May, and today is interesting news that came out. Had a little bit of movement in the market as a result. Also, Chairman Powell coming out and talking today. He just finished his speech just a little while ago and watched to see how it moved. And it really wasn't as volatile as one would expected with Powell doing his conversation. But let's just talk about where we're at. We did see the producer price index, which is wholesale inflation, come out and showed a much higher number than what was anticipated. A significant spike in that. As a result of that, then there are a lot of news outlets out there saying, "Oh, the Fed stopped raising rates too soon. Inflation is still out of control." But we also have a negative revision for last month, showing that it was actually not as hot as they thought it was. So there's a lot of argument out there from different people talking about interest rates. But well, if they were more on target last month with the BLS report, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is one that comes out with these reports, we would have possibly gotten better rates last month. Possibly, right? We don't know. We know where we're at today. What we also know is I think that we're kind of sitting and waiting. Even though we had a negative report today, it didn't influence the market the way one would have thought it would have with a producer price index, because tomorrow's CPI is flip-flop this month. Doesn't make sense. Typically, you get the consumer price index, CPI, comes out, and then the next day is producer price index. Now we're having it inverse. It's first time I've seen that happen. It's just some sort of weird way that it lined out. I don't have any data that says as to why that it did that way. But so now we have everybody waiting. I think they're pausing to see what's going to happen tomorrow. So let's kind of take a look at a couple things here, because I want you to see this. This is very, very interesting data. So I'm going to show you just the scheduled release of data directly from the BLS website, Bureau of Labor Statistics. They're the one to keep track of all this thing. There's the one that put all these stats out. So if you look, this is the consumer price index scheduled to go May 15th, which is tomorrow, the producer price index today. But look at any other time. April 10th was the release of the CPI. April 11th was the PPI, before in February. The February numbers was released March 12th for the consumer price index, and the producer price index is March 14th. It's always after. For some reason, this month it's before. So with that, we would have probably seen maybe some real negative response to the market movement, or at least or at least some negative market movement to today's number had it been after the CPI. So let's take a look at where we are on the charts. Let's see here. Okay, so chart wise, I'm a little bit off on what I'm showing here today. I've got different things all over the place. So charts. Here's where we're at. We're up at the very top of the channel, pushed, and we hit this other, line of resistance, if you will. But it's going to hover here until we get CPI data. Now, we were just talking about when CPI was last released. It was last released on April 10th. Well, what happened April 10th? That's right here. We had a massive negative movement because of the CPI. Look at that negative movement. Bam, just slapped really, really hard. Prior to that, the April 10th, we had March 12th. What happened on March 12th? Let's go right here. March 12th, a little bit of negative movement. It was negative, started kind of pushing, put us in a trend one direction, the other way. So let's go all the way over here. February 13th. What happened February 13th? It was the CPI release. So see how every time the CPI is released, there's some sort of big movement as a result. So because we have this, and it's a bit of a negative, but not huge, but I don't think we had a massive CPI. I have to go back and look at that. Because we know that when CPI gets released, we get massive movements. That's why I don't think we had a lot of movement today. Now, the other thing I believe with what we heard with what the Fed said and what the news is claiming, they stopped hiking too early because we're having this high PPI, producer price index. I don't think they're going to lower this year. I really don't. I think they're going to keep it where it is because we keep seeing higher inflation. I believe we're going to have higher inflation tomorrow. It's not going to be going a positive direction. It's going to be, higher month over month. That's my belief. And if it does do that, we're going to see negative movement. So I could be wrong. We've seen crazier stuff happen, but it's following the channel. It's following the trend. Everything seems to be going that direction. We'll just see. It's interesting to be in this spot. We should be talking CPI today, not PPI, but we're talking PPI. So that being the situation, let's just see what tomorrow brings. I personally am just going to say that it's going to be negative. We're going to see that decline, stay within the channel. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And I'm also going to say the Fed's not going to raise rates or look through the end of this year. They're going to look at things next year. That's my anticipation. We will come back around on Friday and see if how the CPI thing worked out. Put your comments in there, place your bets, see what happens. Talk to you guys on Friday.